Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 26th of July, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar sinking lower this morning, so really starting to come back to test support, nudging these July lows that we saw earlier in the month. So just looking a little bit weaker, we've activated a downside target of 91.92, so that's a 2.3% downside. But the medium-term chart is still looking pretty bullish. Looks like we might be just hitting some long-term resistance there at the moment. Taking a look at the euro is starting to look stronger against the dollar, of course, inverted, and we're seeing here that we're actually just nudging resistance on the medium term. So at the moment, quite a hard call for the currencies. Japanese yen, we're seeing the dollar sinking lower, so just unwinding a lot of the gains we saw in June, July. And taking a look at sterling, sterling up nudging the 132 level this morning against the dollar, so looking stronger there as well. We've got an upside target to 135. Looking at sterling euro, looking stronger on the sterling side as well, and against the Swiss franc, sterling looking a bit stronger, and against the Aussie dollar, sitting fairly flat at around 177.60. Taking a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin holding on to most of its gains, and that medium-term chart starting to look a lot better. So we are seeing Bitcoin in the throes of making a recovery. Of course, we need to see a higher high above about 10,000, which was set earlier in the year, for Bitcoin to be really clearly reversing into positive gains. Looking at the US stock market, we see the S&P 500 index was higher overnight, up nearly 1%, and the Nasdaq 100 index was also higher. So we are seeing quite a big move there, up 1.4%. So tech stocks are really motoring yesterday. And we look at the Dow, we see that was also strong, up 2/3%. The Russell 2000, the broader based US index, was less strong, and we see that was up only 1/3%. Looking at the futures this morning, little changed. We see the S&P down 0.2%, and the Nasdaq E-mini is down about 0.8%. So that's interesting, and all eyes will be on Facebook, which we'll take a look at the end of this. Looking at the FTSE this morning, it's had quite a fall yesterday, down 2/3%. Was the US gains kicked in after FTSE closed, so we should see FTSE opening higher this morning just off the back of that. And the FTSE 250 also was down 0.5% yesterday, but we should see the recovery there as well. The DAX was down 0.8%, so looking a little bit weaker on that stronger euro, and the CAC 40, which has actually been the stronger European market, was only down 0.1% yesterday, so still holding its relative strength. Looking at Tokyo, it was up 0.6%, so Asia looking stronger. The Hang Seng index actually was down, and the Chinese market was also down nearly 1%. So China trying to recover, but really not managing. Their weaker yuan has pushed stocks higher in China, but it's struggling to hold on to that. Looking at the Sensex in India, up 1/3%, still relatively strong and making new all-time highs. And the Aussie index, little changed. Looking at crude oil, Brent looking stronger, sitting bullish above the cloud and up 0.5% this morning. WTI down slightly, just relatively weak versus Brent. So we are just seeing a divergence there between the different products. US nat gas sitting at $2.78, really in the doldrums. And if we take a look at gold, gold did manage to get back to the 1230s yesterday. Still bullish on the short-term chart, but really struggling to break away. We have actually unwound a downside target on the short-term chart, so gold looking a little bit more bullish shorter term. And if we look at silver, also looking bullish with 3 upside targets to around 1.5 to 3.5%. So silver looking better as well. Looking at US 10-year bond yields, we're nudging that 3% level again, sitting at 2.96 at the moment, but really finding support in the medium-term chart here. So looking bullish, and work to do to activate the upside target of 3.8%, but that's a long-term target, of course, but bond yields looking stronger. We do have a short-term target of 3.13%, and if we get to that, that would activate the upside target. So US bond yields looking strong. Apple shares, looking at the US tech majors yesterday, quite strong performances. Apple up 0.94%, making new all-time highs. Amazon pushing higher as well, again making new all-time highs, up 1.9%. Google continuing its run, up 1.25% and having leapt on better results this week. Google's really looking now very strong indeed. All eyes will be on Facebook today. Shares fell 20% in after hours market yesterday on weaker results, and so that will have a dramatic effect on the chart for Facebook, and does mean we'll come right the way back to support. And I was having mixed feelings about selling my Facebook shares when I did. They fell to 150 at the time after selling, and then they've recovered very strongly. But it looks like that volatility is going to really kick in. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Facebook today at the open and how they trade after that. It could potentially rock, of course, the Nasdaq, and that in turn could rock the US market. So it's still a very mixed picture for stocks. Microsoft looking strong, up over 110, so they've gone up over 10% in the last few weeks. And looking last of all at Netflix, Netflix did recover some ground yesterday, up 1.5%, but still bearish short term. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.